Ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, yesterday we got a pretty crazy exclusive announcement from Eurogamer. They got the scoop on this one about the Skyscale, the new mount, the new exclusive mount coming with episode 6. And I really want to go over some of the details. I really want to go over the specifics of the mount. I want to go over some of the specifics that we see in the trailer, which has nothing to do with the mount, but I want to do some speculation, but we'll get to that. But first, let's watch, so that we're all on the same page. That's right, we're getting a dragon. To be honest, okay, this is kind of a poor wording. Let's be real, all right? Let's be real. So Eurogamer puts out their article yesterday saying the next mount is a dragon, and I will bet you that the entirety of the Guild Wars 2 marketing team was like, "Why'd you say dragon? Why are you saying dragon? Nobody told you to say dragon." Yeah, but as with games journalism, I guess they went with the trope, and the word dragon sells as a mount, I guess. So, anyways, I made a joke about it on Twitter as well yesterday, because it was so off. It's so off base for us to get a dragon. Nowhere in the trailer does it say dragon. It specifically says Skyscale. It's likely going to be a new form of like a lizardy, you know, entity, wyvern, dragon, whatever. Skyscale is going to be their new thing. I guess. Yes, but we're getting the Skyscale, which is a dragon. We don't know how we get this. We don't know the interaction between the story and whatnot. A lot of people have been hypothesizing that this Skyscale might be a mist-like creature, something that comes from the mists, and that's all based off of the idea that Krokatoric is hiding in the mist. He's creating portals in the mists right now, currently, as of yesterday when we also got this announcement. A new series of events with branded portals started opening up. Hold up. Let me see if I can change this real quick. Anyways, we're getting the dragon mount. And it's going to be tied to the episode 6 of the Living Story season 4, which is the finale, the big one, which is why I guess that they're doing all this crazy marketing right now. There's quite a few like little they're basically rolling out the information about the episode as we go along, which I can appreciate. Personally, I find it to be kind of, I don't know, kind of a shame every time that we only get the 2 weeks notice, so to speak, or 1 week notice or whatever it is. Yeah, tune in 2 weeks for the next episode. But this time they're ramping up. They're getting people hyped, new and old, veteran and new players. Let's talk about the Skyscale in particular. So let me slow down everything here, and let's look at all the little details of this. I can't help myself from thinking the initial clip here, it kind of annoys me, not gonna lie. Like, it looks ugly from the front. This guy looks ugly. Wait, can I pause? What why is it not pausing? This is not a flattering angle. This is the angle that you get when you accidentally turn on your phone camera, and you get that double chin while you're laying on the couch. Yeah, this is that kind of shot, followed up by a weird jump out of frame. Like, I get where they're trying to go with this, but they should have probably went with another camera angle, not gonna lie. This is just kind of, I don't know. It feels weird. Then he just kind of flies out. So your first question may be, well, how does this compare to the Griffin? And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it's a little bit of a shame that they're doing another flying mount instead of upgrading the Griffin mastery line. I would much rather have seen the functionalities of the Skyclaw be transferred over to a mastery line for the Griffin, and then have something more unique than just the. It's the same model as the Griffin. Let's be real here. It's the same exact model as the Griffin, or not model, the skeleton, but with a dragon scaly kind of deal on top of it. So there's that. But yeah, in the article they explain it as this Skyscale is going to be like helicopters are for aviation. That's how they say it. So the idea here is that the Skyscale is supposedly much slower than the jet engine that is the Griffin, but this one can gain height where the Griffin can't really, or isn't supposed to at least, gain height. So this is going to be slower but more maneuverable, I guess, which is why we see we kind of see it taking off just like Griffin, and then we don't really get to see anything else. I mean, we can kind of assume here, wow, nice pause. We can kind of assume here that it's gaining height a little bit, but we don't really know. But it does have, this is the special ability for this particular mount. It can sit on walls and jump up, right? It can basically just leap higher up, which is kind of a weird feature, not gonna lie. I would have much rather seen, unless they're going to gate this heavily, I would have much rather seen it just be a spider. I feel like there's a unique model that we kind of missed out on, and instead we're getting another bird, which is fine. It's cool and all. I'm not gonna shit talk it too much, but it's a cool feature, and I want to see where this goes. But I wouldn't be surprised if we find that this is heavily limited, which would kind of hamper this this mount entirely. Because if they start limiting the mount skills entirely, then ouch. Then it's just gonna become much less useful, I guess, or much less unique. Yeah, in a sense, much less useful. You know what I mean, right? We get a little bit of a glimpse here where he does a. Here we go. Boom. He breaks the sonic barrier. Does a barrel roll, and kind of maneuvers down. This is a completely new animation, obviously. It's kind of a headbutt kind of deal. I don't know if this is supposed to be just like a quick boost forward, instead of being like the Griffin just super dives down, like super fast dives down. I think this is just going to be a bit of a boost. I would be surprised if this could go on infinitely, this speed, this rotation, but who knows. Alright, we get a little bit of a flying around here. A little bit of we get this pan over. Alright, we get to see the scales, the horns. We get to see the. I unironically called the Skyscale, and I keep thinking it. Let me be real here. I keep thinking it. I keep calling it Skyclaw, because it genuinely is just the Warclaw and the Griffin mixed together. I keep calling it like Skyclaw. It's so weird to me. Quantum, thank you for the 3-month support. I appreciate it, man. Super appreciate it. Hoo-hoo-hoo. The War Wing, yeah, exactly. The War Scale, the Skyclaw. I mean, yeah. Anyways, we get it pans over. Blah blah blah. Alright, this is where we get to see the engage skill. So the commander comes riding up here to an enemy. We'll talk about the enemy in a second, because this is... Okay, yeah, I'll get back to that. I'm getting ahead of myself. The commander rides up to an enemy, uses the engage skill, which pops them off, which is not exactly amazing. Let's be real here. One of the best features comparatively to when you compare, sorry, sentences here. When you compare the engage skill with a simple dismount, one of the positives by doing the engage skill is that you land on your feet. There's no jump, right? They changed that for the wall claw, which I feel like it's a bad move, especially in PvE, but they changed that for the wall claw. So now, apparently, this one has it the opposite way. When you engage, your character flies off instead of lands on their feet, so you're not instantly ready to fight. You have to wait for the jump here. Anyways, jumps off, come on. Jumps off, lands, while the Skyscale, I was about to say Skyclaw again. The Skyscale flies up and breathes a ring of fire. It kind of persists through this. I feel like the camera angle again is, I don't know, it's not doing this justice. Why is 50% of the screen the floor and not the actual thing happening in the foreground? I don't know, or in the actual image. Anyways, yeah, there we go. So it breathes a ring of fire, which is really cool. Let's be real here, especially if this is actually a fire field. You can do some pretty cool combos with this immediately right out the gate as you land. You won't have to worry about your fire field or whatnot. I don't know. I'd love to see this actually be a fire field and it actually be powerful. We saw with the wall claw that its engage skill was the most powerful PvE engage skill out of all of the mounts. And yeah, that's super exciting for me, especially considering that the Griffin's what's it called? Pounce. What's it called? I forget what it is. The engage skill is the second most powerful skill in the mount arsenal. If this one lands in between those two, I'm right on board with it. I like this. I like this. All right, breathes fire, blah blah blah. It's on every. There we go. All right, and we get the last shot where it's just an idle animation of it breathing fire. Everybody wants to train their dragon. Skyscale. All right, so here we go. Let's pause it right there. It's got the regal look here, kind of like a griffin, kind of like a pigeon. It's basically the griffin, just reskin of the griffin with new skills. But yeah. Norn character sitting on it, and it's coming with War Eternal. Ride the Skyclaw. Skyscale. Ride the Skyscale. Fuck me, I did it. Whoever designed this commander needs to be. I'm not gonna say that, but yeah, it's just a lot of glow. Everything is glowing nowadays in Guild Wars. All of their promotional material. And it's your fault. Anyways. Alright. That's the Skyscale. It's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to this. It's not going to be completely game breaking in the same way. Or game changing. Sorry, not game breaking. It's not going to be too game changing because it's not a unique thing, right? It's not a unique mount. It's going to be cool and all, don't get me wrong, but we've basically taken an already existing mount and changed it slightly and called it a new mount. It's the same with the wall claw. When the wall claw came out, I said openly, how far are they going to stretch these reskins, because the wall claw essentially is a reskin of the griffin and the it's a combination of the griffin and the jackal. The only difference is that the wall claw doesn't really have to compete with the other mounts in any way, shape, or form, because it's unique. Its uniqueness comes from it being only usable, being the only usable mount in World vs. World, right? But this one's competing with everything else. The Skyscale will be competing with every other mount, making this Skyscale only a bit of a gimmick, I want to call it, and don't misinterpret that. Like it's not like it's not going to be cool. It's not going to be useful. but it's more like a gimmick than it is a unique feature of the game, I guess. But then again, mounts are kind of like they're non-content, right? Like they're just a tool in the end. So does it really matter? Just ride the mount that you prefer the most. Anyways, cool mount. I'm looking forward to it. Let's look at the environment real quick, because that's something that I see a lot of people jumping to conclusion is what I want to call it. If we can get, come on, YouTube. Is it the speed? What is happening here? All right, I see a lot of people, I feel like, are jumping to conclusion. The common theory right now is that all of this scenery takes place in the mists, right? The idea here is the Skyscale is probably a mist creature. Kralkatorrik is a mist creature. We kind of feel like the story in a way feels like there was an opening for us to go to the mist and fight Kralkatorrik, even though episode 5 made a whole point about us drawing out Kralkatorrik from the mist. That was the whole thing. What's the point of going into his environment when we can lure him out, right? So I'd like to propose to you that this is not the mists. Just bear that in mind. We'll look at the world map in a second. We'll look at the details, and then we'll look at the world map at the, in the end here. But bear with me. I don't believe that this is in the mists, regardless of whatever you see here in the background. Yeah, we get a big, just like bland gray background, and I think that's where a lot of people are drawing their inspiration from, their mist inspiration from. I feel like this empty space, this empty void, makes people think of, well, the empty void of space, which is essentially, yeah, that. Anyways, let's continue a little bit. We get the packed banner. We get packed tents. So we can assume, obviously, that the pact is here, right? The ships are here, the pact members are here, everything packed is here. We've taken the army with us. We've got a giant Shatterer here in the background fighting this airship as well. Got a little bit of a bridge here as well. We've seen this in Jahai and other places where there is a packed presence. That's basically it. It's this pack. This is a packed camp. This is likely the very start of the zone. Just a packed camp with stuff going on. Right, we get a little bit better shot of the Shatterer here in the background. This is not Kralkatorrik, even though it's very tempting to say that. But yeah, this is definitely, definitely the Shatterer, or one of them, I guess. Right, we get a little bit of an NPC look here. I can't really tell who that is, but we do get a little bit of a glimpse here in the corner. Right, we've got cliffs. We've got more like in here. This looks like a broken airship, like an airship that's crashed, basically. I can't really tell too much what it is, but it just looks like ruins, right? Let me see if I can pause it just right. There we go. Here we go. It kind of just looks like a crashed airship kind of deal, unless it's like, yeah, we've built a base here and that's it. That's the roof. Who knows? Right, we get a little bit better shot of the camp. We get more. This is just the same shot, but from another angle. We get a lot of NPCs here. We get a little bit of a ghostly figure over here, which I don't really know what to think of, to be honest, given that we get more ghostly figures a little bit later. So let's keep that in mind just for later. We have a waterfall. We got a little bit of a jungly area. I see a lot of people calling this jungly. I wouldn't necessarily call it jungly. It's not the Maguma jungle, like dense jungle, dense forest. These are just plants, trees coming out. Right, we get more trees. We get a floating island up here in the background. Seemingly floating island, because who knows, this might be something completely different, which is another hint that people have used to justify the idea that maybe this is in the mists. I'd argue that this is just if they are floating islands, well, islands or floating rocks. I'd argue that it's because we're so close to Kralkatorrik that the magical presence is so crazy, and like things are out of loop, and he's kind of drawn on the powers of the mists, like Kralkatorrik, to kind of manifest weird realms and weird areas and weird magics in this entire area. The trees, the jungle, the floating rocks and all that being just like that. Just like in Bloodstone Fen. Yeah, good point. Good call. We get a little bit of a glimpse over here of the material. I believe this is the material of the map. You probably don't really see it all that well. It's like a little purpley crystally thing that we see in the distance. Yeah. Let's keep on going for a second here. All right, we got a vista. Not really, but we get a little bit better look at the at the currency. I believe it's the currency. This might as well just be a collectible or something. Who knows? But this is likely going to be the material that we gather in this map, which is like another branded material, seemingly. Branded crystals. Let's make another branded set of weapons. Right. You think that's a rift? It might actually be a rift. Yeah, good point. Maybe a portal. You're completely right. The reason why I wasn't thinking a rift is because the new animations that they have for the rifts that they're using right now in the open world for the rift events with the branded mist teleportations, they're circular. This one is the old. Yeah, you're completely right. This is the old, or this could be. Sorry, this could be the old portal or like rift animation, which is like an elongated, kind of flimsy thing. You see that in Bloodstone Fen with some of the rift events. That's really well spotted, man. I didn't even think of that. Right, we get the sun. We get a lot of the sky here. We get a lightning flash as well. Lots of stuff is going on. That's kind of the point of this whole map. The grayness all around the map, like this way, looking this way from the camera, I guess. It's just gray sky. And the entire edge here is gray, and then in the center here we have this huge storm that's building up. Keep that in mind, because I think this is going to be the determining factor for where on the map this might be, because I think in the center of all this Kralkatorrik might be, maybe, or his lair or something. I think this is all just like a big map surrounding this cloud, basically. Or not surrounding this cloud, but you get the gist. Let's continue on. All right, there we go. See, okay, here we go. That's so these are different, right? Because I'd say this is a portal, but this is much smaller. This is one of the newer-esque portals from the Joko attacks, right? Or not the Joko attacks, the Jahai Bluffs, where you go and interact with the portal, which is also like a long flimsy thing, but where you can see Kralkatorrik through the mist. That's the one right there. This one is much smaller, and I don't think that it's because of the distance. I don't think this is that far away to justify it being that small. But this little thing, that's a rift event, as they are in Jahai Bluffs. Right. We get here in the background. See, we get more of this like crashed airship kind of like stuff down here in the jungle-y area. I feel like we only get to see a very small sliver of the entire map. Like we only really get to see this corner all throughout all of the promotional material that we've got. We got the gray background, we got a floating island, and we got the packed airship over here. And then he jumps up. Jump. We get a little bit better view of all the crashed, I don't know, scaffolding. Let's call it scaffolding there. You got a floating island with some crystals running through it. Who knows? Who knows? Right, and then we see another angle of probably close to the same area, or just the same area-ish, but we get to see a packed airship up here. This is likely, what are they called? Those, the people that help us out. The pirates, the bandits, the corsairs. I forget what they're called. It's probably their ship. It's probably supposed to be their ship. They help us out in the Sandswept Isles. Oh my god. In the Sandswept, you know what I mean. Saida, thank you. Saida's crew. Boom. It's likely Saida's crew. It's the red font or the red color. That kind of gives it away for me. Ben, how you doing, man? Good morning. All right, we get a little bit more of the area here. This is looking inwards, I guess, because we've still got the purplish clouds here, which is supposed to be in the center of the map, and then everything else is surrounded by this gray mist. All right, let's continue on. Fly, fly, fly. We got a thunderstorm. Right, here we get a little bit better glimpse of the crystalline thing that's poking through this giant flying rock, seemingly flying rock, but I couldn't tell you for the life of me what that actually is. Looks like crystal, who knows. Nothing other exciting there. All right, we get it. So okay, boom, here we go. We get a bit of water here. This is seemingly water, right? We can assume that this is either it just kind of continues into the fog, or this is a drop off, right? This drops off into a giant void of something, which leads me to believe not that we're in the mists, but that we're on a very, very tall cliff. We're basically on a mountain. I believe we're on a mountain. And the water just kind of drops off there. All right, do I get it again? No, I don't. Really wish I had a better setup with there we go. We kind of get a branded creature down there. That's all I really wanted to show, but all right, so we get some of this like watery area, and we get the jungle, quote unquote. We get kind of these big trees. It seems to me that it's basically just a lot of Heart of Thorns assets that's being used, reused, so to speak. All right, here we go. This area is probably one of the most interesting ones that we see in the entire trailer. Well, apart from the fact that we get to see a large overview of everything, but the reason why this is so interesting is because it's so odd. We get the water floor here, water floor, haha, water, you know what I mean. And we get the kind of jungly area again. I don't believe that this is actually a jungle. I feel like this is just this is trees that are kind of either manifested out of the mists, or they're just kind of stationary large trees on top of a mountain. That's what I believe. It's either one of those two. Well, what we get here is we get earth elementals in the background, which doesn't really mean anything to anyone, but for some reason we get spiritual or spirit versions of like Arctiduses, which is like, what? Where in the world is this coming from? Why do we have a spiritual Arctidus? We haven't seen these creatures even in their like real form, not spiritual, anywhere else than in the Shiver Peaks. What are they doing here? My guess is the mists. Hey, that's a good excuse, right? My guess is they're coming. It's spirit. There's going to be a lot of different spirits. Remember how I pointed out that there was an NPC earlier on that was kind of spirity? That's the word I'm going to use here. I think there's going to be a lot of spirit presence here, both good and bad, and well, apparently also just not bad, but like kind of ambient. That we get to interact with, fight with. I feel like this is kind of a crossover map between the mists and the reality, but I don't think that we're in the mist. I think we are in the real world, so to speak, but that spirits and ghosts and whatnot are manifesting out of this veil. Mike went to shit? What? Since when? What? Wait. No, the sound is just fine. What? There's just a little bit of background noise, that's all, I guess. There's weird static. That's because the mic is close to the laptop. That's why. I can't really get away from that. Trying to cull it down there. All right. Anyways, let's get back to that. All right. Spirit presence. We get the volatile magic. All that jazz. Just the currency. And we get the blast. We get a little bit of whatever is going on down here. It's basically just a jungle. There's nothing else really happens except for the fact that we see all these spirits and whatnot. That's the interesting bit. We also get this like glowing orb over here that I just noticed, and I don't know if it actually has any significance or anything, because it doesn't look like any of these orbs. It looks like an actual like full-on orb, like full-on glowing orb. Anyways, weird. Yeah, and we get another shot of the environment that is around us. Like I said, it seems like we only really get to see a sliver of the map. We only really get to see the start of the map. We're constantly seeing this ship in the background. In every single shot, we see the ship in the background. Almost every single shot. But yeah, I feel like it's just at the start. Anyways, let's get back to the game real quick. Let's talk about where we potentially might go. What are our options? That's the real question. Where might we go? Now, I'd venture to say, like I said at the start, I don't believe that we're going in the mists. I believe that we are going somewhere on the map. So what does that leave us with? We have mountainy areas. We probably have a large mountain. We've got Kralkatorrik there, likely. Now, we don't actually know if we are going toe-to-toe with Kralkatorrik. We're just kind of assuming it. Even though the whole premise of episode 5 is we don't know what to do, the worst thing that we could probably do right now in episode 6 is charge head on and hit a dragon in the face right out the gate, right? But seemingly, that's what everyone wants to do. So that's likely what we're going to do. So where might we go? We're looking for mountains. We're looking for weirdness. We're looking for spirits, clouds. I don't know. My best bet is right here in this area. I think we're going to this giant mountain, which we know from earlier stories that Kralkatorrik not only flew there, but he landed on a mountain. It's very specifically said he lands on a mountain. That would put us right in line with having a large, what's it called? Large, wow, tall map, very high up. We've got the water flowing out into, seemingly, well, might be that, flowing out into to the ocean. We've got the weird disturbances. We've got all the, imagine if this is really, really tall. This is a really, really tall area. So tall that we don't actually get to see the bottom while we're on the map. We can imagine that everything around here is just kind of gray because you can't see it, I guess. And then in the center, we get this large purple cloud of magic and chaos and everything. Now, Kralkatorrik isn't here necessarily. He's in the mists. That's kind of the thing, right? But I believe that this is where we're going to try to either lure him or we're going to try to find a remedy to defeat him. But yeah, I believe this. I believe it's right here. The alternative would be somewhere around up here, but we don't actually know what is in Desolana at all. There could be anything. It could be a clash between kind of like woodland areas and like mountainy areas, and we could clash with the brand and whatnot. But it seems kind of far off. The same goes with all these like mini volcanoes or whatever they are. Seems kind of eh. I think the most, if not the only option that we have is right here. I can't really argue for anywhere else. I don't feel like I can. So yeah, that's about my my interpretation of this all. this whole thing. I think we're going here next time for War Eternal. Somebody check out old map. They might have covered it. They might have covered it a new cover. Mantra, you might be right, but I don't know. There's a lot of people that are also speculating about this area in particular, mostly because they kind of made a little bit of a map change. There's a little road that runs here. Now, personally, I think if they even touch on this area, I think it's going to be what's it called, the raid. Nothing in the trailer, nothing in the clips that we've seen hints towards any of this area actually being, unless a mountain suddenly manifests out here. I'm just not seeing it realistically. I think it's here. There are some updates where they changed fog of war on the map, and we were able to guess new maps. I mean, true, but I don't think this has changed, not according to what I've seen. Arashim raid, let's go Pog, indeed. Tinfoil Hat theory, if it's called War Eternal, like Eternal Battlegrounds, we might guide Croc to World vs. World and make him go into stasis in a fractal state, adding some functionality to World vs. World. I doubt that they're going to implement it into World vs. World in any regard. Just because World vs. Worlders are really adverse to any change, I doubt that they would add a PvE element to it, in especially of this caliber. Just let World vs. World be what World vs. World is, I guess, and then let's do the fights somewhere else. Fractal state of Croc would be epic, actually. I think, okay, my preferred scenario for the fight with Kralkatorrik would be an infinitely repeating, not necessarily fractal, but a raid. But say it's basically like a fractal in a raid, or yeah, you know what I mean, a fractal in a raid, where it's just an infinitely repeatable instance of the mist. But yeah, I think that was I think that basically that covers that. That covers that. All right, another one though, another little thing. There was also another thing that I kind of want to read. I kind of held off on reading this yesterday, even though it's kind of cool. All right, it's kind of cool. Wait, can I not? There we go. The second short story came out. All or Nothing, Requiem. Zafirah story. I haven't read this. I really want to read this. I kind of waited to read it till I was on stream. Yeah. So yeah. Let's read this. I'm gonna read this aloud. Storytime, boys. Storytime. Right. This is the second story. This is Zafirah's story. I thought that this was going to be the end. Like, I thought that they had kind of had to cut this because of the layoffs and whatnot, because everything just kind of happened right around the time that the Ridlock thing came out. But seemingly it was just pushed down the line, and I can appreciate that. All right, story time. Anyways, here we go. There was a vision, a promise that we'd win. My god is dead. Aurene gone. The warmth of Balthasar's spirit is now just cold, lifeless crystal. Kralkatorrik took her from me, just as his brand will soon take this world. Oh wow, no hope whatsoever. I thought that I had finally found something. I hope that what I was holding on to was real. That it was pure and good. Maybe it was. Maybe what I had for that short time between my lowest point and the end of all things was as good as it will ever get for me. Or maybe the vision that saw me standing there at her side during the final battle against Kralkatorrik was meant as a warning for me to stay away. There is no solace in what lies ahead. All I can do is look to the past, and I carry it with me wherever I go. The rifle on my back is a symbol of what came first. Wait, is that the right one? Or did I skip something again? Oh my god, I hate this site. I hate this site. Continue that way. That does nothing. Alright, I'm just an idiot. Never mind. Never mind. There we go. The rifle on my back. Boom. The first things I remember, the glare of the sun, the blistering heat of the desert, and my family's screams. Wow, okay, that changed really quickly. There are other voices too, deeper, guttural, crying out their praise for Palawa Joko as if the Lich could hear their devotion across all of Alona. My mother and father, my sister and my brother, they hurried me out of the door and into the vast desert with only my mother's rifle and a small bag heavy with ammunition. Too heavy for a child, but not nearly enough for what lay ahead. They told me to escape to Amnoon. Made me promise I would survive. I like the idea of them having ammunition here. Can I just say, this is kind of a weird thing, but everything else is just infinite. All engineers just have infinite ammunition. Anyway, sorry. Detour. They told me to escape to Amnoon, made me promise I would survive. So I ran, and their screams became one with the desert winds howling at my back. I fled north through the Scourge Way. We haven't seen that. I fled north through the Scourge Way, through the desolation, and away from Joko. Wow. Whatever that meant in Alona. Then I hit the bone wall. Nobody could sneak through the gate without going through at least 3 dozen awakened. And these weren't the mindless boars that wandered through farms and villages scaring up support for the Lich. These ones couldn't be fooled, couldn't be reasoned with. If you tried to slip through the gate with a flimsy excuse or poorly forged papers, you didn't go to prison. Oh, there we go. Okay, I didn't understand that sentence for a second. You didn't go to prison. You were killed on the spot. We've seen the Scourge Way. Am I just an idiot? We traveled that way on our way to the Bone Palace. Am I just remembering this wrong? Alright, never mind. I saw it happen as I was summoning the courage to try my own luck. The poor fool stumbled in front of me, insisting he had permission to cross with a small group of farmers working the Elan Riverlands beyond. The guard showed him no patience, no mercy. Maybe he was part of the group. Maybe it wasn't. It was clear to me that I'd never get through on my own. I was trapped, wandering the desolation. Right, Lynn, I was just an idiot. Thank you for that. I'm not sure how long I hid in the desolation. I was alone with 46 bullets left in that heavy bag my family placed in my hands. Some wild game lasted longer than others. But once I was out of ammunition, that was it. I needed to escape through the Joko Gate. There were rock gazelles, of course, sand eels and devourers, though missing a shot meant drawing their attention, which was dangerous. I learned not to do that. One particularly desperate day, I even tried making a meal of a sulfurous ooze. The less said about that, the better. If any of Joko's awakened found me, they needed bullets too, but that was a waste. I learned to hide from them. When I wasn't out hunting or trying to plot my way through the gate, I was left alone with my thoughts, all of them about the family I'd lost and everything that had been taken from me. There had been the farm, chores, target practice in the morning, the routine of a simple life, a life that wasn't mine anymore. Of course I wanted to mourn. Of course I wanted to grieve, but I couldn't. To grieve would take time, effort. I couldn't waste it. I needed to survive. I needed to move on. I needed to get to the Elan Riverlands, to the Crystal Oasis, to Amnoon. It would be 31 pulls of the trigger before I'd have that chance. And she had 46 bullets. Haha. I like that. Find my center. Breathe out. Don't pull. Squeeze. The crack of the bullet, the flame of the muzzle, the kick of the rifle, then the long silence. The rock gazelle silhouette disappeared from the horizon. It was done. But there was already another silhouette in the distance. Awakened, I thought. I looked through the rifle scope and saw it was an Elonian, a woman, dressed in finery, nicer than any I had ever seen. She was looking at the gazelle, checking to see how it fell. There we go. She turned in my direction and waved, sitting down on a rocky outcropping as if waiting for me. I felt something. How long had it been since somebody acknowledged me? Weeks. Over a month at least. I reloaded the rifle and pulled the strap over my head so it hung loose by my side. If she tried to take my kill from me, it would be easy to sling the rifle up into my ready arms. As I got closer, the shock on her face was clear as the sky was blue. She shook her head, impressed, and gestured down to the dead gazelle. Flies were already congregating. "This was you?" she asked. "Yes." "What's your name, girl?" I remember her careful movements, slow, deliberate, unafraid. As I put myself between her and my kill, she explained that the gazelle wasn't mine, that it belonged to the shepherds who paid the Hamaseen good money to keep the herd alive. But her tone wasn't patronizing or malicious. She seemed impressed, amused. Nothing I'd expected. Plenix, welcome, welcome. And everyone from Plenix's stream, welcome to the story time. We're just reading this story because I haven't read it, yeah, I wanted to do it on stream. Hello, street. Wow, that is fucking Plenix. That is a fucking ghastly emote. Holy shit, that is haunting. Wow. Okay, now that's something. That is something. Thank you for the host, man. Appreciate it. Welcome, everyone. Anyways, we continue. "I don't know what the Hamaseen is," I'd insisted, "but it can't have this one, and neither can you." She smiled and, "Not for you, not for nothing," she said. I remember that, because I would hear it many times after. She asked me who taught me to be such an incredible shot. I offered her no answer except for my silence, but she saw something in me, something I didn't mean to show. She said she understood, that she was sorry. I couldn't imagine how this stranger could possibly understand. I felt the fury and confusion building in me until she spoke the words, "The Joko Gate. You want to go through it?" Not for nothing, of course. She would take care of me. She would get me past the bone wall. She would forgive me for shooting the gazelle. All I needed to do was pledge my aim to the Hamaseen. Counterattack? What are you guys on about? Salambor was quick to see my talent and quicker to take advantage of it. If he didn't in his mind, somebody else would. Oh, if he didn't in his mind, somebody else would. There were plenty of other members of the Hamaseen who asked for my aid, but Salambor was the only one to demand it, and Salambor demanded only the best. When he first laid eyes the old battered rifle I carried, I guess it's supposed to say when he first laid eyes on the old battered rifle I carried, it didn't matter to him that I could hit anything I saw in my scope. He couldn't know what it meant to me. Against my wishes, he replaced my mother's rifle with a new one, branded with the symbol of the Hamaseen. Its scope was twice as powerful and capable of firing twice as quickly with half of the kick. He told me I would need it if I was to be his Deadeye. Well, I hated it, but also I loved it. I don't know what happened to my mother's rifle, but Salambor insisted it didn't matter. It was a thing, an instrument, a tool to be used, then discarded. The new rifle served me well as targets soon turned from wild game to awakened. Then to Elonians I didn't recognize. Then to Elonians I did. Salambor climbed the ranks of the Hamaseen atop a pile of my shell casings. I was respected among the Hamaseen. But with that respect came fear. Even with all the power Salambor offered, I felt something missing. There was an emptiness to it all. I wouldn't know what that something was until I found the Saishan. For as long as I could remember, the six gods had had no place in Joko's Ilona. I'd never spent much time thinking about them. Salambor and his Hamaseen associates weren't exactly devout, and my own parents, as far as I remember, didn't pray to any of the six. So when Salambor told me that I was going to be protecting a group of Saishan priests as they traveled through the Joko Gate from the desolation into the Elan Riverlands, the very same path I had traveled years before, I didn't think much of it. Salambor sent me to work with many Elonian factions after all. He already considered himself something of a caregiver to the oppressed suffering under Joko's heel. If there was a group out there capable of irking the Lich Lord, then Salambor took great satisfaction in throwing his support behind them. But looking at these priests, I wondered why Salambor was wasting his time. I met them in a small cave surrounded by acrid, toxic pools, somewhere east of the Helcoid Seeps. There were 8 of them, all of them garbed in heavy ropes dyed bright orange and black. Their leader, Atsu, had some sort of decorative mesh headwear that covered his face, like a helmet with no actual defensive purpose. I remember thinking it was silly. To be honest, everything about the Order of the Saitian seemed silly to me at first. Balthasar was a god of fire and war. How do you live your life by fire and war? I was an agent of death and destruction within the Hamasine, but I hadn't sought it out. It wasn't a part of me. After years of service, even with the power of prestige Salambor offered, I still felt nothing but emptiness and the fear of the others in the Hamasine. I could never be one of them, not truly, because if they crossed Salambor, I was the one he would send to end them. People kept me at arm's length. Who would want that? Who would crave that? I was wrong. I was wrong about everything. Atsu, the priest, had done something I would never forget. I had just taken down an awakened patrol from high in the canyons above to guarantee safe passage north. Atsu had asked to come with me to my perch to see me at work. Salambor didn't want me to anger these priests, so I agreed, though I paid him no mind, refusing to let his presence distract me. Find my center, breathe out, don't pull, squeeze. The crack of the bullet, the flame of the muzzle, the kick of the rifle, then the long silence. Salambor had expressed joy when he saw my skill with a rifle, knowing how he could use it to further his own ends. Most others expressed surprise or fear, knowing then that if they were marked, they wouldn't see their end coming. But Atsu prayed. Praise be to Balthasar for this gift. He prayed after each shot I took, 4 to take down the whole patrol. I'd heard many different reactions to my prowess with a rifle, but never that it was some divine gift. I was unprepared for that. When I tried to dismiss it, he seemed disappointed. Not that I was rejecting his gratitude, but that, in his own words, I was unaware of just how special I was to Balthasar. Then I felt something. I didn't know what it was at first, but it felt strangely familiar to me. A power, a presence. Had I felt it before? Had it always been there? Atsu unsheathed his dagger and pressed the hilt into my palm. The Saitian insignia, something I'd never seen before, was carved into the bottom. To me, it looked like 2 flaming wings carrying a bullseye. He told me Balthasar praises those who act. Balthasar praises those who step forward, not back. Balthasar praises those who do not hesitate, both in life and on the battlefield. And most importantly, Balthasar praises those who can take a life to save others. To the Saitian, it's never about killing, but killing to secure safety for the many. Wow, what? But killing to secure safety for the many. Wow, okay, killing the secure, nice. Well read. Not to wage wars, but to win wars. Not to kill, but to protect. Atsu asked me what I was killing for as a Deadeye for the Hamasine. What had I become? Was this truly what I wanted to be? What I was meant to be? No, it wasn't. At least, I thought it wasn't. I wouldn't know the truth until Balthasar. The Saitian told me I was one of them, accepted me with open arms. I had been given a gift by Balthasar himself, they said, and I believed them. I felt Balthasar's presence that day. His power was there all around me, guiding my hand. It had always been there, I realized, a shadow of a thought in the back of my mind. It wasn't until Atsu spoke to me in that cave, high above the desolation, that I finally realized my true calling. So I left the Hamasine, left Salambor, left it all, but I kept the rifle. Under Atsu's guidance, I donned the garb of the Saitian. I learned the words Balthasar spoke to us long ago when he helped humanity conquer Ascalon. I learned to listen to his voice deep within me and spread it to those who could not hear him. The Saitian did not fear me. The Saitian did not want to use me for their own ends. The Saitian simply were. I simply was. I was part of them, a part of something greater than myself, greater than any one person. I was part of a family again. I was a priestess of Balthasar. And then, my god came to Tyria. I knew. The moment I saw him, I knew this was my god. I knew this was the one I had pledged my service to, the one who had given me my gift, the one who had brought purpose and meaning back to my life. But something was wrong. He stood before me tall and imposing, power radiating from his physical form, but this power was different from what I had felt all those years before. His voice dissonant from the one I heard within me. Still, I was blindsided when he betrayed us. I tried to rationalize. I was even successful for a time. Weeks passed where I convinced my Saitian brothers and sisters to take up arms against both the pack commander and the branded. I watched them throw their lives away. I couldn't deny my god. The whispers I had once felt within me grew in volume and urgency. Whatever Balthasar asked of me, of the Saitian, we readily gave him. We would sacrifice all our lives to rid the world of the Crystal Dragon. The Saitian joined Balthasar's forged army and pushed into the Crystal Desert. We would destroy Kralkatorrik, and we would save Tyria from his vile brand. Nothing could stop us. Until the commander did. Wow. Argon Garrison. It was to be my final stand. I knew I'd never kill the Crystal Dragon, but I had to do something. There, with my fallen god's sword, I would end my life on my own terms. I would go down fighting, as Balthasar demanded. I raised the rifle, find my center, breathe. Oh wow, find my center, breathe out, don't pull, squeeze. Dodge. The crack of the bullet, the flame of the muzzle, the kick of the rifle, then the sound of the metal clang reverberating through the training yard. I'd seen canisters like it all over the Crystal Desert, filled with paralyzing gas. The Forge used them to subdue any who thought they could surprise us from the caves and old ruins that peppered the landscape. And it was always easier to interrogate a living prisoner than a dead one. With my god and his Forge defeated, there was little doubt that the pack was stocking their weaponry, taking it for themselves. I would make use of it all one last time. If anyone tried to take the sword, they would either feel the bite of my rifle or fall to the choking haze filling the garrison. Then there was a sound in the yard. If you're here to claim his sword, turn around, I shouted, down at the intruder. You have no right to it. Leave now and live. But wait, only one intruder? Who would be foolish enough to? I looked through my scope. It was the God Killer. God Killer. Wow. This is the scene that we get to experience in the living story. Instinct. That's all it ever was. Wow. Instinct. That's all it ever is in a fight. I was angry. I wanted revenge, and I told their commander that I wanted it. On the pact, on Balthasar's enemies, they had killed my brothers and sisters and the god that gave me purpose. Later, much later, I realized this wasn't exactly true. While I did want revenge, it wasn't against the commander of the pact or even my god's enemies. I wanted revenge against my god himself, against Balthasar. Balthasar killed the Saitian, my brothers and sisters. Balthasar sent us to die, sent us to fight the Crystal Dragon, to give our lives for a war that could only end in Tyria's destruction. And it was the commander who killed him before he could kill any of us. Oh wow, he could kill all of us. The commander saved me and what was left of the Saitian. We remember Balthasar differently. He helped us discover our best selves, helped us find a family. I cannot let who he became, the one who betrayed all of us, shake my devotion. Words are hard indeed. My faith is not in the God himself, his flesh, such as it was. My faith is in what he made me feel, his power, his potential. A potential that lived on in Aurene until she died. This is a really sad story. Oh my god, it's like until. I don't know how long I knelt before Aurene's still form, searching for something, for anything. All I saw there was my own face, reflected back in the facets of Kralkatorix's crystal. I began to think about those hours in Argon Garrison. I began to think about what I'd done. Atsu's words came back to me. What are you killing for? I should have asked that before. I should have thought about how Balthasar treated the Saitian, how he treated me. How he treated the Saitian as his weapons to use as he saw fit, his tools, implements, things to be used, then discarded. 1,000 fragmented faces looked back at me from the crystal, 1,000 faces with the same pained expression, 1,000 faces all trying to find an answer to Atsu's question. When I was up in that garrison, I didn't know. I wasn't trying to answer the question. With my dead god's extinguished blade drawn close, I realize only now I was trying to hold on to the purpose that had been taken from me. I was lost, filled with despair. My god was dead. My family had become sworn enemies of Alona. The one who had given me my life meaning was now being cursed as a pariah who had nearly doomed the world in a fit of madness. I had spent my life telling others Balthasar's virtues, that Balthasar praises those who act, that Balthasar praises those who step forward, not back, that Balthasar praises those who do not hesitate both in life and on the battlefield, that Balthasar praises those who can take a life to save others, that Balthasar's Saitian did not take lives, but protected them. These were the virtues of Balthasar, the virtues I lived by, the virtues that had given me purpose and strength, and I would never be able to speak of them again. When I was up in that garrison, I saw no path forward. I felt no purpose. I wanted everything to end. I wanted them to end me. The commander showed me another way. Salambur and the Hamasine used me as I had used my rifle, as a tool that fired bullets to increase one man's power over others. Balthasar used me to strike against the crystal dragon, no matter what the consequences for the Saitian. But the commander saw me in a vision, a prophecy. For the first time, for the only time, my destiny was firm. I didn't need to wonder if I had chosen the right path or trusted the right people. I didn't need to know if my bullets or blade were being used for the right purpose. Fate, not a person, not a god, had chosen me. I didn't need to worry anymore. There was something else too. In these last fleeting weeks, I saw what family and leadership is truly meant to be. Aurene, blessed with Balthasar's magic, yet benevolent and caring, she stood in front of those weaker than herself. She died protecting the commander, protecting us. Balthasar would never have done that. I finally understood. Balthasar is gone. Aurene is gone. Tyria is as good as gone. But I remain. I still stand, along with the commander and the pack, along with Saitian. Fate dictated I be there at the end of the world. If it is to fall to dust, then I will speak the tenets of Balthasar until the ground crumbles beneath my feet. I will shout the story of Aurene and her champion until the breath leaves my lungs and I fall into the void. All the things I put my faith in have left me. Now, in these final moments, I put faith in myself and in fate. Nothing else matters. Crazy! Alright, now that's a good story. View the full-size image. Let's go. Let's watch this. This is done by a community member. Let me see. Creative partner Marius Boda. Marius, you did a wonderful job. This is really well made. I like this. I love the little flower here at the bottom as well. The little flower that blooms. Which I guess was supposed to be for Keith, but hey, I love it. It's a nice little detail. Roller coaster of emotions. It's like, yeah, everything's going good. Wow, everything's going good until everything's going good until it's everything. Yeah. I like these stories. I really like these stories. It's a really great insight into the character's mind and their past. I love the Ridlock story as well. The Ridlock one caught me kind of off guard though, not gonna lie. In the sense that it kind of answered some of the questions that everyone had been burning for a long time. But yeah, it was really great. Yeah, you can get this rifle skin in game now. 25 what are they called? Those Black Lion statuettes. You can get that easily. It's basically free. It feels real. This was a really good story. This was a really, really good story. I appreciate that. I'm glad I kept that. I'm glad I kept away from reading it yesterday and kept it for the stream. The details of these images. Just, she's impaled and dead. Feels... ouch, man. Ouch. Right. Nice story time. It was a good story. Nice story. Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's all the news, boys. That's all the news.